Youorns. Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the Youorns 10-minute take on Watford 5, Rotherham United 0. The yellow glasses are in full effect because a Watford win has transpired, and it did today at the Vic, as your Golden Boys got the job done. Now, the first half, it wasn't great to watch. Watford weren't at their best, didn't move the ball fast enough, just didn't really put paid to a side that were in the bottom three and still are in the bottom three, and probably, based on the way they're playing these games, may well go down by the end of the season, but there's still a long way to go for that. But Watford should have been ahead further than 1-0. After just 10 minutes, they scored through Mr. Rajovic, pardon me. He got his 5th goal of the season for the Golden Boys, and he really got a great cross from Ken Sema, who I thought was the Youorns man of the match today, and Jake Livermore may have something to say about that as well. But Ken Sema has been really good when he's played this season, and definitely the team missed him during the time that he was out injured. He has made a big contribution, and that's why he continues to pick up man of the match honors in a lot of these games. His crossing was pinpoint, and it was in the 10th minute as Rajovic got a foot to the ball, toe poking it in past the Rotherham goalkeeper for 1-0. And Watford, you would have thought, would have gone on and kicked on, but as they've done so often in a lot of these games, they've not made the most of their advantage, and they've allowed opposition to come back into the game. But Rotherham was so poor today that didn't even happen. The game got static. The game just petered out. The game was stale. It was pedestrian in the first half, and Watford did not rise above that once the scoreline was 1-0. I thought that was a mistake for them, but when the second half came, certainly something was said in that dressing room by the manager, because Watford looked like a different team. Ido Kayembe scored his first Watford goal, and it was great to see. He lashed the ball past the goalkeeper after 10 minutes almost into the start of the restart, and Watford were up at 2-0, doubling their lead. And then a triple change came, and Watford pushed on and scored 3, 4, and 5. And of the triple changes made by Val in one fell swoop, 2 of those triple changes made the score sheet. One of them, Matthias Martins, the other, Tom Ince, his second Watford goal. And for Martins, I believe his 4th or 5th Watford goal this season, coming off the bench he did today. And Martins is looking to be accustomed, I think, to that role. Brought you energy and life off the bench, as did Georgie, as did a number of players who came in and made an impact. Rotherham, yes, they did not trouble Watford really, except for one save that Ben Hamer had to make in the first half, a long-range save. But pretty much Watford dominated this game without really playing particularly well for lots of stretches of it, but you saw the teamwork, the confidence, and the cohesion and consistency grow. They've now gone to 6 consecutive games without defeat. That's their longest stretch in at least 2 years, I think, at this point. And back-to-back clean sheets now, and 3 clean sheets in their last 4 games, if I have that right. Watford continuing to build an identity, which is important. That's the takeaway from me. And building consistency, as I just mentioned, 6 unbeaten now, heading into this international break, which you might think is more a curse than a blessing for Watford. I think that the international break probably comes at the wrong time, since Watford are building this head of steam and this momentum and this confidence. But at the same time, you've got some players who are injured, like Ciaralta. He did not show today. He had a quad strain, and you had players who were sick, like Ngakia. And so maybe the 2 weeks off for them will come at a really good time. Daniel Bachmann also out because of concussion protocol, a blow to the head that he suffered during training in this week. And so Ben Hamer deputized for him. And then Ben Hamer, though he didn't have much to do, I thought had some authority and confidence, brought a lot of authority and confidence between the sticks today against this Rotherham side that were very, very tame material at best. And Watford, I thought, made the most of it after kind of really struggling to put many goals past this team in the first half. Watford really did turn on the afterburners in that second half. And I think that triple change made by Val, who's not afraid to shuffle the deck, made a really big difference to the way Watford approached this game after Watford had already gone 2-0 up through Kayembe. And Kayembe was excellent today, as was Jake Livermore, as I alluded to earlier. But I thought that triple change was the biggest moment of the game because it brought a lot of energy. And sometimes, as I've said before, triple changes are not necessarily the best thing. All of these were very bold attacking changes, and Valishmal continues to make his personality put on this team and make it fit on this team. And the team is beginning to adopt it in their mentality. And it has taken some time, and it would take some time. And I think now you're beginning to see a defense that looks lots more comfortable, a defense that looks as if it knows what it's doing, and a general game plan by these players. Now, I think the only other thing is that needs to be said is that they need to continue to move the ball and move it quickly. If they can keep moving the ball quickly, which they didn't do a lot of today until that triple change happened, they will start to score a lot more goals. And you saw 5 goals today, the biggest win of the season so far since, of course, the QPR game when they won 4-0. And this is the biggest Watford win since the 6-0 hammering of Bristol City back in 2021, in front of absolutely no Watford fans whatsoever, because it was during the early part of the pandemic. And really, there were really no Rotherham fans to watch this whipping that Rotherham got today. And I think they'd be very relieved at that. I only counted a few people, a few brave souls in the Vicarage Road end on the away side of things. And I couldn't blame Rotherham fans for wanting to stay away from this one, traveling all the way down to Hertfordshire to watch their team get beaten so badly like this. Look, let me just say this about Rotherham. Rotherham are poor. They were poor today. Make no mistake about that. And Watford weren't even at their best. And Watford began to show you what they're capable of in that second half after the triple change. Georgie looked really good coming in as well. And Rajovic, look, he was on a hat trick and looked very good, made a lot of space, made a lot of running, and I thought put himself about. But it was the technical ability and skill and quality of Ken Sema that gives me the impression that he is certainly man of the match in this game. Youorns man of the match, Ken Sema. He made some really good quality spot, set pieces, I should say, and brought the right cross at the right time. He injects quality and energy and wisdom into the game. That's what Ken Sema brings when he's on the pitch. He will always bring you 110%. And I've never heard of Ken Sema having a bad game. I mean, obviously, when a whole team has a bad game, you'd include Ken Sema in it. But Ken Sema's attitude from the word go, from the opening whistle, is always a positive one, and always one that is team first and me second. And if you have a team first player rather than a me first player, you are going to win more of your games than you're going to lose. And Ken Sema, once he's been back in this lineup, and especially when he started, but particularly once he's been back in this lineup, this team's not lost. I mean, they played very, very well. There may be one game where they may have lost, but in these 6 games, he's started pretty much all these games, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them. And the team has gone really well. So there's a number of candidates for man of the match, as I alluded to. You could pick from a number of players: Kayembe, Porteous, Livermore, Sema, Rajovic, who got his 2 goals, got his brace, was on a hat trick. You could pick from a number of players, but I thought today what you saw from this side was a resolute display in not being satisfied with 2-0. And after slowly growing into this game, they decided to really go for it against a Rotherham side that really does not have any reason to be in the championship now. I mean, I do wish them well. Having said that, I do wish them well, and I hope they do stay in the division. But they looked really poor today, and Watford made them look poor. Finally, made them look poor after those 2 goals went in, and then they scored the next 3 goals to add to it. A worthy win for Watford, a win that got the Vic buzzing in excitement again. That's the kind of Vicarage Road you love to see. The Vic buzzing and absolutely resoundingly. I had several Watford fans tell me that they were at the game. In fact, one of them contacted me directly from the game and said that the atmosphere was absolutely electric. And someone else, another Watford fan, told me that they had not been to a game when Watford had won for a long time, because they missed, obviously, the few games they did win at the Vic, but they hadn't seen a win at the Vic from Watford since last August of the previous year, 2022. So it was really great to see that these fans and the Watford faithful in general getting to see wins at the Vic. And as I said in the Friday Focus, Watford had to make Vicarage Road a fortress again after so many seasons now where we've lost a number of games at home, except for the 2021 year that we only lost 2 at home, if memory serves me, under Cisco. But Watford have got to continue to make Vicarage Road a fortress. You know, the times in the 70s and the 80s, particularly when teams would be scared to come to the Vic and they would know what they'd be in for. A lot of teams over the last few years, no, they don't know about that. They don't care about that. They know what the game plan is and they're going to do what they're going to do. But Watford now have to continue to re-establish the balance of power at home. And this game was a good one to get off that start on, even if it is a team that's in the bottom three. But no matter what team it is, Watford today performed when it really counted, performed well, performed strong in those moments when it counted, and played like a team. This has been the YouOrns 10-minute take.